Speaking of nationals.
Mm-hmm.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Pit Against a Live Plus One College Show. I'm joined by my constant co-host, Kevin Smurph. Kevin, what's up?
What's up?
Pit Against is a live college show. If you'd like to be live on air talking to us about your take, join the Pit Against Discord by clicking on the link that's in the description. Then join the waiting room channel, put your hot take in the topics text channel. And if we like your take, we'll pull you on for a mic check and then pull you on air. Kevin, what's actually up? How have you been?
I'm good. I didn't play any RTNs this last weekend or the weekend before because there were none in week 3 for me, and then I skipped the one that I would have had last weekend.
You already won yours. You don't need to play anymore.
Yeah, I won one and top 8'd the other 3.
I played in one at my LGS. Yeah. I had a good time. Anyways.
Nice.
Oh, we had, let's see, we had Aggro Blaze show up and take the whole event.
Yeah,
but we had a lot of locals in top 8, which was super cool.
Yeah, you had like 4 of the top 8 was locals.
Yeah, which, if that sounds surprising, we do typically get a lot of people to Blade Gaming for their events, their Pro Quests and their RTNs. So that was kind of cool.
They end up pretty competitive usually.
Yeah. My buddy Alex got finalist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's super cool. But I don't want to talk about that right now because I believe we have a caller in the wings. If you want to talk to a caller,
sure.
That's right. If you want to be on air talking to us about your takes, like this person is. Yeah, Blade is so stacked. Then all you got to do is join in the Discord link and then put something in the call-in topics. Like, say something like, I think all this Prism stuff is a bunch of hullabaloo, and she's not actually that good of a deck. And then Kevin can berate you. But also, like, we could have a good, healthy discussion as well. Your choice. But actually, though, I think... frick, Tim, you're messing everything up.
Waiting.
There we go. You're good. I mean, not Tim. That's not what I meant to say. Caller, what's your take and what do you want to talk about?
Where are you calling from? And what's your name?
Holy frick! Dude.
All
right, go ahead, Kevin. You know this. You know how it goes. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name's Tim, and I'm from right here in Roanoke, like William Knuckles.
Holy frick.
Holy cow.
Doxing yourself. So, what's your
Blade Gaming RTN?
Yeah. What's your take? What do you want to talk about? Actually, I think I know what you want to talk about. It's weird because like we called you on to talk about a take that Kevin wants to talk about. But I do want to talk about that for a second. We were just talking about the RTN at Blade. How did you do at it? Because you were there.
I got juiced, man.
Yeah.
Both by myself and by the event. I showed up feeling okay, and then as the event went on, felt worse and worse and worse. By the end, I was just like, I just need to leave. I'm getting actual sick.
So clearly you made top 8.
And then, yeah, for sure. No, if I get a judge call a certain way, I'll probably win my winning into top 8.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, our judges are impartial and perfect, so clearly they made the right decision.
I mean, they definitely don't have bias against me, so that's fine. They made their best judge call. It just wasn't right, you know?
Yeah.
Jordan wants to call in and talk to Tim. Tim, I wanted to talk to you about your vest plan and Averdance. We can talk about that later. Anyways, Kevin, what's your take and what do you want to talk about?
Okay. So half of it is I don't like that we're getting set release Friday of Nationals. Duh. We know that. I think we've been over that before. probably.
Yeah. We went over that a little bit, but
Yeah.
to be like, to explain it fully, we don't have to go into super depth in it. But why does that suck?
Because if you're playing Nationals and Classic Constructed, you have to get cards for Classic Constructed day of release.
What if the set
Which-
sucks?
I mean, sure, then they have other problems, though.
Yeah, true. No, go
Like-
ahead. Sorry. You go ahead. Keep going, though.
Like, we saw what happened in Memphis, and it was not good, and it's still not good. We're still kind of dealing with some of those prices on hunted stuff where Hunter's Glaives are $40, and weapons are pretty important to a class, which $80 for a playset is not terrible, but the problem is Assassin is already $1,200 to play.
Yeah.
So they added that, plus then they added whatever cards you needed from this set, which is like Take Up the Mantle and Kiss of Death. And then just Shelter, another generic Majestic that it's going to happen. Generic Majestics are going to get printed. They're going to be good, and they're $70. Or they're like $65 right now, which is still like what Weakest Link was.
I don't know how necessary it is, but like the Fable is like not bad.
It's not bad, and it's $45. It's less than Shelter.
$45 is still $45, right?
It is.
That's another $45.
But it's also
card.
like, it is not a
Only playable
generic.
in one hero.
It is
True.
only playable. It's
Oh,
playable
it is
in
Chaos.
2.
I thought it was 2.
It's playable in 2. Slippy and Marionette.
And no, that's it. That's all.
That's
I
it.
can
And it's not even like, it's not Library or Light of Soul levels of playable.
No,
Or
yeah,
like
it's not
mandatory.
Yeah.
I have seen many lists do well that do not have it in the deck. So we're going to have that problem. Something else that I want to talk about, I guess, that I noticed looking at the page that I don't like that they're doing, I guess, is the way they're changing how invites work for stuff.
Okay.
Which is to say, PT London, if you get top 32, you do not get a PTI. You get an invite specifically to PT Singapore.
That's not awful.
No, but it's not good.
Obviously,
And
a generic PTI is more versatile and better
than something you can only use if you can travel to Singapore.
I think the idea
Or a PT.
is like,
You do well at one and you play the next one.
yeah, you do. What did they call it in Magic? I think it was like
The gravy train.
The gravy train. You would just like steamroll event after event after event.
Sure. This has also now gone into Friday of US Nats. Used to be a PQ Plus they would run. Or a PTI event. And that is now a WCQ, a World Championship qualifier. So you are playing for an invite that you can only use at the World Championship this year.
We'll know where Worlds is by then.
Probably. I imagine we'll get that in London.
I would guess we will know by Nationals.
I don't like how they're starting to restrict some of these invites.
Tim, do you have opinions on either this or the did either of those points you wanted to talk about first? That one or the
set release on Friday?
Set release on Friday.
I mean,
of
that one's still
Nationals.
pretty fresh. So, I'll talk about that one now. I assume that this was probably always their like intent was to restrict invites.
Okay.
But because the game was so new, they needed to make sure people would go to events. So when they got their invites, they were like, "Come when you can."
So we're currently in late stage Flesh and Blood.
Not late stages.
We're moving
Not
into late
what
stage.
I would
Flesh
say. I would say this is more of like we've gotten out of the baby years, and now we're toddler, not toddler. We're more like teen Flesh and Blood. We're
a
able
real
to
game now.
stand on our own a little bit. Yeah.
I don't think we're at the point
like
where we have enough people that are just always going to be able to go to whatever event that invite is for.
How many people
Sure.
can do that now? I can
and
only
maybe
think
we're
of
not there
2.
yet.
Like a half dozen can go to every event.
Yeah, I don't think it's you necessarily need every event though for this to work. Specifically with like the Pro Tour and Nationals and Worlds invites.
Okay.
Like the idea is the people who are doing well at PTs will continue to go to the the next one
Sure.
and Worlds and Nationals.
Yeah.
And those are the people who are going to be doing it anyways. Because I mean, there's probably in the tens of people that do that for every PT.
Maybe. I don't know if it's
Like people
that
who have been
high.
there from PT1 to now PT.
Actually, there might be more of
I would
those
say
people.
20 to 30.
Yeah, there might be like 20. I would believe 20 to 30 people,
That have gone to every event
or
and
at least trying to.
are planning to.
I mean, there's probably 8 from what is it, Blue Pitch alone,
Sure.
and then plus
Maybe.
um,
I don't know if they've been to
Brody,
all of them, but
Fang,
maybe.
and Hamilton.
Yeah. Hamilton hasn't even
Roughly.
been to all of
Mara?
them. Mara didn't
Or
go to all
hasn't.
of
She
them.
started in Baltimore.
But I mean,
No, she was at Jersey.
is the current
But-
plan to start going to all of them?
I don't think she is not currently planning to go to Singapore,
Okay.
but she's like on the fence about
Yeah, I
it.
think.
She did not go to Lille. I know Hamilton did not go to Amsterdam.
Yeah.
So like, Mara didn't go to Osaka.
We are pretty far from having
Mm-hmm.
a healthy list of actual professional players
people
who go to every event.
everything.
Yeah, like we don't have pros yet. Like pros where this is their career.
Mm-hmm.
Not like 25 or 30 of them that are where you're going to have 20 of them show up to any given event. We have maybe 5 people who this is their career, and we have like 4 of them show up to every event. But there's still only 4 of them. And then you've got another like probably 100 people where you'll have like 50 of them show up to any tier 4 plus.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. It was like the people who would show up to any 4+ event.
Yeah.
Because the invite train isn't linked to the lower tier events. Like our Battle Hardens, your PTI or the ProQuest Pluses are still giving you generic PTIs.
Yes.
This is just like top tier event to next top tier event.
Yeah. So like it is tier 4 to tier 4, but like they've also put on Friday of Nats instead of a PQ plus like they did last year or a PTI event the year before. It is a WCQ. It's World Championship qualifier.
I think we're moving more towards that like height of magic type thing. That like
maybe.
James White always talks about.
Yeah.
This was like his favorite time was grinding magic and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if he really liked that time in magic, my guess is this is to move more towards that.
I think to talk about that for a second, I think it wouldn't
Whether it's
be
right or not.
an unreasonable, like, I think one thing that LSS might be looking at is that, like, when it comes to these gravy trains, this might be something that doesn't last for years for a person. It lasts for like a year and a half. Like, they go to an event on a whim. They want to go to this event. They win the event or they get second, and then they can go to the next event, and then they can go to the next event. They do that, and they're like, I don't know. There's some like
they go on a
22-year-old, and they're like in college or something like that. They go on a streak and they win a couple of these, and then they just after a few years of that success or a few months or however long it is, like a couple of events, they don't get one of the invites. and so then they'll just go to an event whenever they can more recently, and it's like it's not supposed to be like a career for most people. But even for some people who like kind of go on these little train rides, it's only going to be for like a couple of events. And then you'll know their name. You'll see them at events every once in a while, but they won't be going to every event just because they were doing really well at one point.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It just feels a little bit weird to me for like, I think this model is fine in like 3 or 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just a touch early to be really pushing stuff in that direction, especially like a lot of the US players who are going to go to London and then they top 32 and then the invite just gets burned because they can't use it for Worlds, which is in the US, but they can't make it to Singapore. So the invite's just gone.
Yeah.
And they like, I don't know. That feels a little strange to me.
Let's see. I thought I had another question. I thought there was a question surrounding the prize pool for nationals or some of the events around nationals, and I can't remember what that was. And I'm
I
trying
feel like
to
I remember.
I can't see
I feel like I
any
remember
difference
that.
from last year and this year.
I feel like I remember
Oh.
it was around the PT, not Nats.
Yeah,
And it
so
was something
people
like
have
the top 32.
Oh, okay.
prize
people
pool.
have been asking questions about the prize pool for PT London.
Okay.
It is $175,000, and the prize pool for each PT last year was $200,000.
Oh.
Part of this is they added a $100,000 prize pool for Player of the Year, as well as they added more Battle Hardens and Callings.
Yes.
So they have more events, but they didn't change the total prize pool for their competitive circuit. It's still 1.5, so they have to take money away from places.
Sure.
PT London, at least, is one of the places they took it from. And I believe that's reflected in like top 32. Anything outside top 8,
Okay. So
I believe, is slightly lower.
I'm looking at that now, right? So like
Sounds right.
in Amsterdam, 33 to 64 was 1,000. It's gonna be
So it's 100.
900. It's gonna be
It's
900.
$100 less.
Yeah. Or you look at London, I'll look at Amsterdam, right? So 17th through 32nd is 1,500.
Yeah, this is 1250, so 250 less.
9th through 16th was 3,000.
2275, so $725 less.
Where are we at? 5th through 8th was 6.
4.5.
3rd through 4th was 13.
10.
Second was 20.
Yeah, then it's the same for first and second. So
Okay, same for
top
first and second.
4 down is less prizing
Yeah.
by not an insignificant amount.
Well, it's less pricing, and then you also have to think that their qualification is for Pro Tour
For
APAC as opposed to a PTI.
Exclusively PT Singapore instead of
Can you
whatever event they want to go to.
Can you trade that?
I don't know.
That's
We've
an
never been
important
able to
question.
trade event-specific invites before.
Yeah, PQ. This is the same thing that you would get from winning a ProQuest.
Then for some people,
Is my understanding.
that's 100%
That's right.
just a
Yeah.
loss in
It's just burned.
value. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what they go for. I used to hear that they would go for like 750, a normal PTI.
They're gonna start going for even more.
They're going to start going for a lot more because sounds like they're disappearing kind of.
There's just gonna be less of them. This is 32 PTIs that don't go into the world.
Do you think they plan to phase out generic PTIs? Like what?
I think that's hard to do with Callings and Battle Hardens.
You think so?
Yes.
What did the old school Magic Grand Prix give you? No, I'm not talking to anybody who played Grand Prix. So
No idea.
I'm looking up stuff.
So I think could they not just do like if you win a battle hardened, or what is it, top 2 a battle hardened, or top
Yeah, it's currently top 2.
4 or 8 a calling. Is it 8? Then you your PTI would go to the next Pro Tour or Worlds or Tier 1 event. Could they do that? Like,
They set whatever threshold for it, maybe.
How bad does that suck?
I don't like it.
That does.
Like, I really don't like it.
Do you think you'll care? Like, you'll still be talking about it in 5 years. Like, let's say like they switch to that model, and then it's like it just becomes what it is. And do you even care? Or are you still complaining about it at that point? Or is
I don't know if I'm gonna spend time complaining, but like if somebody asks me, I'll say, yeah, I don't like it.
Okay. I guess
it's less flexible. I have a job. I have limited PTO. I don't get to choose all of the events I want to go to because this isn't enough for me to sustain a career. So this invite is suddenly worth less to me than it is to somebody else who has just randomly enough money for whatever that they can make it a career. Like it rewards people who are already like you don't make enough money playing the game to make a career out of it. You have to make the career some other way, which is probably buying or selling cards or coaching or whatever. But like you're not making the I guess
content.
Yeah, some sort of content. Like if you make a career out of that, and then these suddenly have value for you because it like snowballs into more content or whatever because you're playing the big events and you can because you don't need a 9 to 5 to pay for it.
The big events end up becoming a quote unquote business expense for your content creation, which is your main job.
It's just marketing at that point.
Yeah, marketing as well, right? Like a lot of people tune into people just because wow, this sounds like Salty William. That's not the direction I mean to make it, but like a lot of people will tune into people just because they win events, and
that is the way it works. Because that's how your name gets out there. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how many 9th places you get.
You got to get 8s. You
have to get top 8. But you have to win really. Yeah. Like the difference between top 8 and winning is like
huge,
insane.
Yeah.
But like, the community
from like Smurph
people wouldn't have cared if I just top 8 it.
They probably would have cared if you got second.
Yeah, sure, but I'm on stream then.
Yeah, true. Top 8 is definitely the most important.
Yes.
And then you're guaranteed stream if you're in top 2, right? So
yes.
I don't know, getting your face out there, that matters. So
like I'm not saying it's good, but it is the way it is, that it is results oriented.
Yeah.
And it heavily benefits
the people who have success.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the game is like small enough that it's like, oh, you see the person who won, you're gonna go do that. Like GPs looks like they gave pro points.
Pro points. Yeah, I was about to circle back on that too.
Tell me about pro points. Oh man, how did that work?
Pro points?
Tim is the youngest of us.
Wait, is he? How old is Tim?
I know, really funny. 100%. I may be 26.
Oh, now I'm old.
But I did play Magic back then. So pro points would, if you acquired enough pro points in a specific season, it would, or specific year, I think is what the time frame was. You would gain a certain player status.
Okay.
For Magic, so you could have like bronze tier, silver tier, gold tier.
Okay, all right, I'm listening.
And basically, based on the tier, I'm gonna get some of this wrong. It qualified you for, like, I think if you were silver tier pro, you got invites to all the pro tours for the year.
They also used to have a thing where it's like if you were a certain tier, you would skip out on day 1 of events.
You would get buys.
So if you got like gold tier,
you
would get round two rounds of buys.
Yeah.
Yes. So good. It was automatic. You automatically start at 2-0.
That's terrible for Pablo Pintor.
And you don't play against the random
chaff.
Decks
Yeah,
you would
you-
expect to, you would expect to see.
No CYB
You
Betsy.
can
Wait, actually,
metagame a
maybe.
lot better. It's yeah, it was a big thing.
Yeah.
I think it matters maybe more in Magic, because of the nature of the game and how they're built.
Yep.
How games are played as well.
Mhm.
It would definitely matter a lot more because you really could just be sniped by some like stupid weird deck that doesn't actually work in the meta.
That could only beat your deck.
Yeah, that could literally only beat your deck, or they hard tech to your deck, and which you totally could do. They could hard tech to your deck and then lose to everything else, or just mono red. It was definitely a club. I could see that.
Yeah.
Pro player status would
Mm-hmm.
get you buys at Grand Prix events. Gold and Platinum got PT invites for all the events and appearance fees.
Yeah. So you got paid to go to events.
Holy
Sure.
frick.
That would
sounds-
help a lot
that
if
sounds
you wanted
dope.
people on the gravy
No, it
train.
would be-
You wanted the people
It would
to
be
like.
awesome if they said something like in the future, like let's say like 4 years from now, they say, okay, all the events, all PTIs are event specific. If you cash in an event specific invite, we pay your hotel or something like that.
That is not from a ProQuest. Probably would be the
No,
asterisk
probably
on
not
that,
from a ProQuest.
because that's a
That's
lot.
everyone.
But if you made top 32 at PT London
mhm.
and you qualified for PT Singapore, like they would pay your hotel for the
Yeah.
top 32,
Yeah.
which also
have, like-
would have a large overlap with the top 75 ELO,
Yes.
by the way. Because that's like the other side of this complaint is like,
oh yeah, Elo.
do you just qualify on ELO anyways? If you top 32 a PT,
Yeah.
you probably go 10 and
Next one.
5 in Swiss.
Or better?
You probably gain 100 or 150 ELO,
Yeah.
and that's probably putting you pushing top 75.
That's what I
So,
need to do.
is the invite pointless for
Maybe it is.
anyone?
Maybe it is.
For everyone?
They should get
I
rid
think
of
that-
invites. You're right, Kevin.
This was
It's like
this was
thanks for
Runaway's
showing
point.
up. Here's a grand. That
Yeah.
sounds great. What is Runaway's point? I haven't listened to podcasts
Ru-
recently because life has exploded. But go ahead.
Runaway's point, part of Runaway's point for this was like, you already qualify off ELO. You can't bank the PTI for a later event where you wouldn't have qualified off ELO.
Mm,
Like,
oh my gosh.
yeah. So like,
Mm-hmm.
the invite doesn't do anything. Then you're already there on ELO.
Oh, bank your Elo.
That'd be wonderful if you could just freeze your ELO.
Freeze your Elo.
I mean, just don't play
they
in pro
literally
season.
called it Pro Players Club.
Forehead.
I mean, they're already, but with the invite,
Yes, it
though, you're also disincentivized to play PQs because I don't know if the invite passes down if you win.
Yeah, it doesn't. That's a good question.
I don't know if it does. Two,
I think it
you're not
doesn't.
playing for anything because you don't have if you had a PTI, it's like, okay, I can play for the invite to Singapore because I know I'm planning to go, and I can avoid using a PTI because I know my ELO, I'm at like 85th in ELO, and I'm not going to be able to climb my ELO that much.
Holy
Like-
frick!
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading.
It's-
I'm reading the wiki to this Pro Tour stuff.
Yeah, it's that
Platinum level.
William. What's
Platinum level.
Pro players.
Actual professional
what it
players.
was?
Complimentary sleep-in special at all Grand Prix. 3 buys at all individual format tournaments. Invites with expenses paid air travel tickets. Invitation with 2 buys at their country's nationals. Appearance fees for up to $3,000 if it was a pro tour. Jeez, like that is going pro.
He was
Like if you could do
Yeah.
that, you can go
He's a
to
pro
events.
player.
You are
That
pro
is a
player.
job.
That's a job. Oh, that's great actually. That's what Flesh and Blood
Is-
needs to do.
because you also get to say, I'm a platinum level player. These are my accolades. And then turn that into content, into coaching, into Patreon, Metafy, whatever else.
If you
like,
fall down to gold, you have the best YouTube thumbnail. You know, just
demoted.
I've demoted to gold, and it's just an hour-long talk about dooming, and it's so great. And you're
About how you
completely
lose
fine.
all your
And
appearance
you're
fees.
just completely fine because you just go back up
Yeah.
to platinum a little later. Like
Yeah.
you accrue
That's-
points over the course of a year, and then resets each year, or am I making that up?
I think it's in that article at some point. It's in the cycles, history cycles.
Oh,
Um,
there's so much going on here. This is so convoluted.
yeah, there's a
Holy
lot. It's
frick.
it was very confusing, and
I'd like to believe LSS can at least make this a lot more like streamlined or digestible.
so
Or at least
this
have a
is what
dev talk you could reference.
this is what your callings and stuff would need to be.
Oh my gosh.
Battle hardens and stuff would need to give you points towards this if you wanted to
Yeah.
move away from PTIs.
I
Is
think I
what
agree
I'm
with
like.
that.
If this is what James White is wanting to move towards more magic
Yeah.
stuff.
So
Because this is like a system that enables you to make it a career if you are doing well enough.
maybe
And like,
Also,
and this stuff is
clone
not
pressure every
tied
year,
to
though.
like,
Just a heads up.
maybe they're just doing
Sure.
baby steps. Maybe they're just doing like really small baby steps. Like they changed the PTIs
I mean,
to
like,
work like that.
this
and
isn't
then
the
they changed some
step.
others.
Like,
This isn't the step you want them to take first.
no,
Yeah.
the system's not ready for this step yet.
Yeah.
Like, this is the step after like they're paying for like part of your getting top 2 at nationals is like a common like a travel stipend for worlds.
They put all the national championship winners like
Yeah.
in worlds. Like they say, here's your flight, here's your
Yeah. Here's your flight, here's your hotel.
and all of your national championships are gonna fight it out for the world championship.
Yeah, do that. Like, that shouldn't be like the expenses should not, like, if you really want the national championship, because they started this last year where your top 16 at US Nats only got you an invite to Worlds, where the year before it was top 8 got PTIs. And they clearly wanted nationals to be this funnel into Worlds.
Feeder tournament.
Like, then commit.
Well, it's hard to say commit, right?
Then
Because they
feeder
are
players.
multi-million-dollar company at this point. No, I'm like in
That's
the no.
I
yeah.
understand what you're
There's-
trying to say.
there's-
That's not the way you
Okay,
wanted to
fair
say.
enough. Yeah, sure. Like they got a lot to balance at this point, and they're still
do.
building, and they're trying to find in which direction do they need to grow
Sure.
next, right? Which is really big.
Yes,
for the
I
company
agree.
at this
But
point.
like this, I don't want to say add incentive, but like make it easier.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just make it a little bit easier for like people to go to these events if you're going to make these events, these invites, event specific.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you want to do top 32 PT London, I'll get hotels at PT Singapore. That's a great little incentive. It's obviously not going to fix everything because flights to Singapore from the US are going to be kind of crazy. But like, just that one thing where it's like, yeah, you have a hotel room at across from the convention center already set and ready for you. And that's just done.
Or you have like a table in the convention center. You can bring your own sleeping bag and. All right. Is there anything?
If you want it to smell really bad, sure.
Well, it already smells bad. All right. Anything else about nationals? The national festival's coming back. That's dope.
Sure.
I think it's cool.
The national festival.
What is different for national festival?
Nothing
Yes,
Cool.
I don't
that
understand.
I'm aware of.
It's just all the stuff they do around a PT anyways.
Yeah, but it's themed.
Okay. Around
And then we're gonna have to
what?
buy the cards for $1 million anyways.
Yeah.
Thursday night, yeah. It's gonna be
There,
great.
well,
Oh, and
so either
I care less about having to practice draft because like everyone's on the same.
Yeah, you're all on the same playing field.
except for the
We're on
people
this.
who don't have 9 to 5s and will be
Other than that,
practicing
yes, but like that's the
immediately.
same for everything. Like,
Yeah, at least you get a little bit of time.
Flesh and Blood's an
You can come
expensive
up with strategies.
hobby.
I don't think you can come up with strategies with a set
Sure.
that's been out for a week. That you've known the set for a week.
I hate to sound negative
Yeah.
like about that, but Flesh and Blood, I think James has said this. It's an
So it's
expensive
inherently
hobby.
unfair.
it is an expensive hobby,
Yeah.
but like that's
It's part of what you're signing up for in a way. And
I-
it
yes,
can
and-
feel so bad where some people are just not able to do things because of money, but
sure. Sure, but you're intentionally making it harder on everyone. Like,
yeah. I
is
don't.
there a reason?
The reason is hype around the set for people not there. Kind of.
Okay, don't call your game Flesh and Blood and make it about playing in the Flesh and Blood if you're going to cater to the people sitting at home.
Snap. You are right. This is
That's
definitely
not- that's
not
not-
catering to the people who showed up.
That's not a good argument to me.
No. Shut that down easy. Frick.
We were just talking about the pro scene and wanting to grow the pro scene.
Yeah.
And this is not, I think,
doesn't
that
help.
right direction.
That's a good
This is
catering
a
to wanting
reason
to
for
see
people to
watch
not
it.
go to Nats.
Oh,
Is they're not going to be able to afford it.
yeah. Yeah.
They can't. They won't know, and they
Mm-hmm.
don't want to gamble on like their deck just becoming obsolete because High Seas came out, or a deck in High Seas that they want to play for Nats that they just can't afford to.
They need to buy cards for a new deck for Nationals.
Yeah.
They're going to Las Vegas during the World Series of Poker. I looked at flights today. Flights suck.
They've been bouncing around a ton. It's miserable.
I saw 700 today, and I'm like, holy shit.
I was happy to get
That's gonna suck
450,
to get out there.
and I looked at like one day it was 450, the next it was 900, and then like 2 days later it dropped
Yes.
back to 450, and I instantly bought it, and then the next day it was back to 900.
I'm trying not to take a flight that goes out at 11:45 p.m.
That is the flight I'm taking
Vegas.
home
I
on Sunday.
Oh my god.
See you there, buddy.
That's so I can work and not spend PTO
You're
on Monday.
you're going to nationals, right, Tim?
I am. But this is the type of thing where it's like you qualify for the specific event, and then I would never be able to go to the very next event because
Yep.
now I have to re-save for another event because I had to pay Vegas money and Vegas
And
light
then
and
Release weekend
buy
scalping
cards
prices.
because I need all the cards. Like I might just consider myself locked into one of the X decks I have.
Yeah. I could easily see this, like these release weekend scalping prices being the difference in an entire hotel for Singapore for Worlds. Like it's going to be that expensive if it's hunted prices.
It
Like,
might also just price people out of competitive decks.
Yeah.
For Nationals, you're not going to see the best players, some of the best players on some of the best decks.
yeah. And then it's going to be teams like MinMax, or if Runaways gets another sponsor again, or PCG Invasion. They're going to be fine because they just have stores backing them that are presumably opening sealed
We'll loan
product,
them cards for
and we'll let them borrow cards for the weekend.
Well, that's actually what I was gonna try to bring up. There was like I don't remember if it was an article or a video where it was Flesh and Blood very specifically talking with MinMax or about, they both were talking about they're trying to have all these setups for nationals to where, you know, all of the stores showing up, all of the people who are going to have tables set up at the event will have cards from High Seas for sale at hopefully reasonable prices. LSS trying to work with them
I
on
don't
that
think
stuff.
So the only way they're reasonable is if they send out 4 times the product at pre-release that they did for Hunted. Because for Hunted, every store that I was at was capped at 12 people, I think it was for pre-release, unless they went into their prize packs to let more people play. Every store I went to got 2 cases, and that was it. That was all they had. And that will not be enough for locals to buy singles from stores on pre-release weekend to go to Nats on Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday. That's not enough. No. And they said they're going to do extra product, and I want to see it. Show me the extra product. Because if that happens again and the prices look like that, that's a mistake.
I believe the prices are also going to be crazy in Vegas because who else are you going to buy from right before Nationals?
There is one gas station at this exit on the interstate, and there's nothing for 20 miles in either direction.
30 cents more.
So yeah,
everything else
prices.
Should be.
Yeah, necessity prices.
Like they might have the quantity of cards that we need, but not at the prices that are.
There's no
the
way
prices could still be ridiculous.
There's no way LSS can make these guys sell individual cards at reasonable prices for people at the event, right?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think they can set prices because then that's also going to change how many boxes stores open.
Yeah.
Because if they suddenly set prices on singles, then you have set the expected value of a box.
Yeah, that doesn't work. It actually just doesn't work.
I don't think it does.
In any way. Oh man. Here's the part where William sounds like a shill because what I want to happen at this point is for Nationals to happen and it all to end and be over with and everyone go, you know what, it actually wasn't that bad. I don't think I'm gonna hear it, but it's what I'm hoping for right now. So, frick. I don't know.
We'll see what happens, but I was not a fan of the way they did it for Memphis and Hunted. I understand there was an issue with Hunted, and that there was less product than there should have been. I understand. I think they need to go beyond what the normal would have been for Hunted if there hadn't been an issue. Because if you don't have enough product out on pre-release weekend in the US that prices are not already dropping for singles, then Vegas is going to be a nightmare, and you are choosing to introduce an expense on your players that has nothing to do with actually playing the game or even getting to the event.
I want this question to be a quick one, I guess, which is how much time do you want? Like, let's say between set release and Nationals, like what's an appropriate amount?
Last year was 2 weeks between Mistvale release and Nats, and I thought that was great.
Tim, you think so too?
What the rest of the world has?
Oh, where they get there?
They have 2 weeks.
They have 2 weeks.
Yeah.
To first Nationals, they have 2 weeks, which is what we had last year. I thought that was great. You had enough time to practice. Like, we got to do a draft boot camp in Richmond.
You think there's a chance that this was like a huge,
I think it's
accident?
Possible. This is the only weekend they could get the venue.
I don't know what other events are around it. That might be like a whole conspiracy if someone wanted to dive through it. But maybe there's
a series.
Yeah. I don't know.
MST, we also have full spoilers a week before premiere. So we knew everything 5 weeks before Nats.
I don't know if it was a week before premiere, but it was at least in the week before premiere. So then we knew everything for minimum 4 weeks before going into Nats, and it was probably 4.5 weeks. And that was fine because that was 2 weeks after set release, which is everyone gets to, you have pre-release, people start messing with stuff in paper. You have full release, everyone gets all the product they want. Stores start selling singles and prices drop over that week. And then you can get stuff in Vegas if you need to, and it's fine. Or it was Minneapolis.
Yeah. Prices dropped
and it was
a lot
totally
in
fine.
just the 2 weeks.
And you had time to draft in paper.
Yeah.
I got like a dozen drafts in
Yes.
paper.
Well, Tim, is there anything else on this subject you wanted to talk about? Or actually, you didn't even call in with a take. You just like called in with Kevin's take. Is there anything you actually wanted to talk about?
No, I'm all for complaining and arguing, but you know,
We appreciate you for just
we're just
that
vibing
reason.
now.
Well, I guess thank you so much for the call. Is there anything you want to shout out?
Yeah. I'll be at the Battle Harden in Charlotte this weekend,
On stream?
Yeah.
It's streamed, right? You're going to be on
hanging
stream?
out. I don't know if it's streamed, but I'll be hanging out with Mr. Kevin
there's
Smurph
no
Murphy,
stream.
There's
so
no stream?
No, it's
But
an
I'm gonna be
SCG
there.
you
con.
can come say hi to me.
SCG,
Yeah,
please.
SCG con.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to stream; it's not profitable.
If you,
It's not profitable to stream Flesh and Blood. They'll stream the RC that's going on, though.
And it's good magical. Bam.
Yeah.
Bum, bum,
Mm.
bum.
For now, it will be profitable eventually because Flesh and Blood's gonna hacking get there. If you see Tim walking around in the venue, make sure to walk up to him and say his catchphrase.
Say
Thank you so much for the yeah, just say
What?
hi. Thank you so much for the call.
Yeah.
We'll catch you next time.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't like this connect.
what's his catchphrase?
I don't know.
Shika shika. All right, yeah, just
What?
walk up to him. Don't walk up to Tim and say that. Only I can do that. And I can't do that because I might not get a ride back home.
Yeah.
So okay. I want to shout out to Jordan Self and Charlie, who's been talking in chat. We haven't referenced you every time you've said something, but we've been reading everything you said. Thank you so much. And on to the next topic, Kevin. RTN wrapped up.
Yeah.
Viscerai, old Viscerai is like young Viscerai hanging out on the beach, drinking a mimosa and enjoying retirement. He's gone.
Yeah.
Where's Flesh and Blood now? RTN season wrapped up.
It's gonna be a lot of Aurora.
And the pre-con's coming out soon.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of Aurora.
A lot of Aurora and Aurora hate.
Is there Aurora hate? Like, is there actually Aurora hate?
Some people say Riptide.
I
don't know.
guess.
No.
Yeah, you'll collapsing trap a full hand at one point, but like
Card's pretty good.
it is.
I don't know. I think there are decks that can absolutely take games off of her.
Oh, for sure. No. She's not like busted.
No.
But she's the standard.
There's going to be people playing Aurora. The interesting thing is we're going to change from having like a 3 aggro deck meta, which we had for a while, which was really interesting, and we don't get all that often. And now we're going to go to probably just the 1 aggro deck.
Yep. I think so.
White hair girl meta.
Yep.
Prism and Aurora.
So yeah, because it's like Aurora's gonna be there, and then Zen's gonna be like Zen and Syndra are both like a half step down.
Yeah.
And we'll have I mean like Zen is not necessarily a half step down, like
Neither of them are bad choices for decks to bring.
I think Zen and Aurora might be on the same level, but Syndra is a half step down for sure, I think. Just because like her armor Zen and Aurora have fridges.
Yeah.
Their armor puts in work.
Yes.
And
Syndra's
does not.
Does put in work, but not in the sense of that it's blocking.
It's entirely offensive.
Yeah. Yeah.
New is still going to be around. Prism is going to show up. If you have prisms in your area that are experienced and they're good on the deck, like they're going to do well.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's this like weird, like, I guess I'm going to call it tier 2, where it's like, I think it's Aurora, Zen, New are all like tier 1.
Yeah.
Prism is like tier 1.5.
Mm-hmm.
And then tier 2 is like
Well,
Syndra, Vincent, Florian, Verdance, Enigma, Arachne Marionette, and Fang. Fang's like probably 2.5. But there's like 6 decks hanging out on that step down.
I'm not. One, I don't subscribe to the 0.5 tier list, or 0.5s in my tier list.
That should just be tier 2.
Yeah, screw that noise. It's 2
Okay.
or it's 3. Personally, right? I mean, you make your list however.
Sure.
But like as a not professional player, I put Fang down at 3 and I put Prism down at 2, and it's I think it's fine. And I think a lot of it is like we're saying 0.5s because it is kind of nebulous. These decks do trade a lot. And they have different matchups. So
yeah, it's the difference in matchup spreads that like really moves this stuff, where it's like, because Prism has decent matchup spreads into Aurora, Zen, and New, but she's a little more volatile than the other ones, and then she's like not as
Syndra's got a little white in her hair, and Enigma's got white hair. Oh my gosh, it is white hair, girl. Meta. It's white hair summer.
And then like Prism can struggle into Vincent and can struggle into Enigma, but then does well into Syndra, Florian, Verdant, depending on the Florian build.
There's like
Verdant, Marionette,
a huge,
and
Fang. There's like a huge grid of who beats who in a giant series of red arrows and lines.
And none of them are wildly
No, and it's like who beats who, and it's like,
lopsided.
Oh, you got a 60-40 matchup into this deck.
And then that 60-40 is completely nullified if the other player is better than you.
Yeah. Well, the normal Flesh and Blood, where it's like, it's 90-90 matchup depending on the better player.
It's better player wins the majority of the time, and like I can point to so many matchups where it's just like it's just the better player. Yeah. Like Prism Enigma is 100% the better player wins.
Yes.
Or like 95% better player wins. Enigma can just like both sides can snowball a little bit. Enigma just a little bit more, but like so if the Prism knows what they're doing and the Enigma doesn't.
Well, it's interesting because like even if you think about like the highest tier of Flesh and Blood play, where they should be playing as best as they can. Again, they're not always even.
It comes down to who's better prepped in the matchup.
Yeah, who's better prepped into the very specific matchup, or it can sometimes just come down to like that snowballing thing where it's like, oh, well, this person drew a nuts hand on turn 2, so
they hit one of the hands that just breaks it.
Yeah.
There aren't many right now.
No, it's not super bad.
No.
And then pretty much any deck not listed, it feels like the other decks have more of those hands against them, right?
Yep.
Like, decks not mentioned can still win games, but oftentimes they're losing them because the other deck is like, oh, I found a hand that wins this.
Yep. And Aurora has more of those than Slippy, than Dio, than Azalea.
And that might be the biggest thing separating the tiers, is just how bad can you just whoopsie into a win. Which is not terrible, I don't think. And I always enjoyed the uphill battle of playing, I call them tempo decks, but playing disruptive decks into aggro decks. And it's like, they're going to win. It's on me to make sure they don't win. And I think that's really interesting. And sometimes you can't. And sometimes you always win. So, I mean, it's sometimes things pan out that way. But I think the new meta coming out of Road to Nationals, it's nothing crazy. I don't think it's anything like I feel like we've never seen before. But it is an interesting shake-up on what we've done.
I think this is the least a meta has moved after an LL.
I'm trying to think of heroes that have LL'd. It's so sad to say that because I feel like Viserai has had the short end of the stick for a lot of his career. And then to say, oh yeah, and then when he left, nothing happened.
Like, Starvo leaving was big.
That was huge.
Briar leaving because she took Rosetta Thorn.
That was also big. It wasn't...
Chain,
Chain was big. Prism was big. Icelander, Oldham,
Romai.
Dromai,
That's it. Lexi.
Lexi.
Lexi changed
Lexi
a
changed a
lot
lot
when
because she
she
was
left.
crazy.
Yeah. So it's Starvo, Briar, Chain, Dromai, Icelander, Lexi, Oldham, Prism.
You know, like
Now Viscerai.
even
And
Viscerai.
this is the least that the meta's moved.
You know,
because
it's still kind of moved a lot though. Like in the sense that okay, let me rephrase that. It still moved a bit, right?
yes,
At least in
it
the sense
didn't
of
move an insignificant amount,
Mhm.
but there is a large difference between how much it moved here and how much it moved for anything else, I think.
Yeah, yeah. LLing is definitely still one of the biggest
Yeah.
rotations of a format.
Yes.
Which is always exciting. Oh, it's
Yeah.
so great. It's so dynamic. Ah, LSS, you made such a great game.
Yeah.
Don't screw
And
up.
I think that like half the reason, or a large part of the reason why it didn't really move this meta much, is because we had three aggro decks at the top. We had Aurora, Zen, and Viz, and we still just have Aurora and Zen just doing their thing.
Mhm.
So like the only thing that like moved is like Verdance and Florian went up a bit, and Prism went up a little bit, and then everyone took Warmongers out of their deck.
If they had a minute.
If they still had them in.
Yeah.
But
It's kind of
like
interesting to think about.
the meta,
Yeah.
a lot of sideboards changed.
Mhm.
The meta did not move that much.
A lot of sideboards changed. So that's actually I like the way you worded that. That's good. It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
100%.
I mean, it's just like Warmongers was trying to be the silver bullet card for Rune Blades, and
Honestly,
Viscerai was able to play through it a reasonable amount, but like,
I think if Aurora just wasn't specifically a Rune Blade in the sense that she dealt physical and arcane, people would be dropping AB everywhere.
sure.
Because it's like,
If she was actually just a lightning ninja,
yeah,
yeah.
like it's interesting. No, I like that point about how it feels like sideboards have changed. You know what card fell off? This is a small tangent. You know what card fell off? I feel like immediately was that if you've been dealt arcane damage, heal 4 life instead of 1.
Arcane Polarity.
Yeah, people were like,
It's
"I got
gone.
it. I can
It's
destroy Viscerai
I can fatigue
now.
Viscerai
I can
so
fatigue-"
hard.
and then they never did.
Yep.
He never Viscerai had that. You couldn't fatigue him. Oh man. I mean, I guess you can, but like,
You can. It's hard.
it's very hard. He didn't like it. So that's RTNs. RTNs wrapped up.
Yep.
And we had a ban list to cap it
Yeah.
all off.
CC, no changes. Totally fine. I'm not
And
worried
that's
about
all,
it.
folks. Thank you all so much for watching.
Yep.
No, but the ban list was interesting, not because of CC, because obviously there was nothing to CC, but because there was actually a ton of changes. CC didn't need it, I don't feel like. Is there anything
Nope.
you would have dropped?
Nope.
Added?
You mean unbanned?
Unbanned? Yeah, added back into the CC meta.
No.
Crown of
I don't
Seeds?
think so. Let me check. Not Crown of Seeds.
You check.
I don't think that card should ever be legal again.
In Blitz, which is interesting because skirmish season is eventually coming up, right? When is skirmish season?
It's like next weekend.
Holy
that
frick.
it starts.
Traverse the Universe banned, Zephyr Needle banned, Crown of Seeds unbanned. See?
Zen's in the gutter.
Crown of Seeds not a bad card. Not a good card either.
They're just thinking that Blitz games won't go long enough for Crown of Seeds to matter. I disagree with that when you take one of the premier aggro decks and kind of kick it in the teeth.
Traverse,
That being
Zephyr
said,
Needle.
Traverse into fatigue decks is a little dubious just because like they never attack you and then you can never traverse.
It helps. Well, I guess so. Yeah, that's true. But like, it can help in the sense of
No.
getting the attack for 20 on the field sometimes.
Sure. There's nothing I would
double
bring
makes
back.
you- Nothing you bring back in CC?
No.
Fair enough. Zephyr Needle band is just so strong in 20 health format.
Yeah.
It's strong in a 40 health format.
Yeah.
Traverse,
I don't know why this ban didn't happen at the same time as the one in the.
I I
in CC.
they really just kind of let Blitz do its thing for a while.
They sure are.
Yeah. You know how they were like, you know what? We're sorry about what we're genuinely feel bad for what we
We
did to
messed up.
LL we did to LL with Verdance.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But in Blitz, however, yeah, just go heckin' wild, kids. Do whatever you need.
Yup.
From hitting Blitz LL in 3 weeks to being a wait, what? From hitting Blitz
Zen.
LL in 3 weeks to being around for another 2 years. I think that's okay.
I don't think he'll be around for 2 years. Well, he might be, depending on how many LL points they're giving.
Yeah.
But no, I think those changes are fine. Like Zen's still gonna be good. I don't know what headpiece he runs.
Some people are saying Zephyr Needle shouldn't have been banned. It should have been one of the retrieve cards.
No.
Silly Head, there's multiple retrieve cards. You'd have to, I feel like, ban them all personally.
It also doesn't matter. It's a 20 health format. He will just hit you.
Yeah. If he attacks you twice with them in the whole game,
that's fine.
That's kind of big.
That's enough.
That's a lot.
People were running it in CC without retrieve.
Traverse the Universe.
That's last year.
Yeah. Traverse the Universe is
fine.
It's a huge play in CC, and when you have a smaller health format, it's an even bigger play. So yeah.
Whoa.
By comparison, Crown of Seas being unbanned, I can understand the reasoning. I think it's fine. I think it's a better change than unbanning Drone.
Yes,
but that's because I'm terrified of Drone.
I will give that I think Drone is a worse unban than Crown of Seeds.
That might be something they're thinking about, is like in the Blitz format, is how do we get a fatigue deck in the Blitz metagame, because there shouldn't be one. Like if Blitz was a more professional format, more competitive format, I feel like it would just be you'd be unable to fatigue decks.
Maybe. I think it depends on the power level you have, because it's like, sure, when you had Artivore and all the books in the format, yeah, you're never going to fatigue those decks. But when you take all the books out, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what this is going to look like. Terra's either going to run over the format or be absolutely dog water still. So we'll see what happens. I don't think I'm playing any Blitz skirmishes, so the only one that's around me just got swapped to LL.
I think mine is LL, which, speaking of LL, there was a ban which affects maybe me. I'm not actually sure what I even play in LL right now. Electromagnetic Somersault is restricted.
Good.
That's good, because they were doing some silly stuff with that card.
It said that your other restricted cards were not actually restricted, while also being lightning blues.
Yeah. The lightning. The fact that you could just run blues.
Yeah, the blues pick up everything.
It just, I think the most danging part was that it lets you basically unrestrict your restricted cards. Like, that was just that's the big thing.
It has defeated the purpose of restricting cards, is that you put somewhere around, on average, 6 somersaults in your deck, and it's like, well, these are either resource cards or they're copies of my power cards.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gross.
It added a layer of redundancy that was unhealthy for the format, in my opinion.
Commoner, Rosetta Thorn ban, Waiting Moon ban, Zephyr Needle ban. They're banning all the weapons, but they're unbanning one of the most terrifying cards from when I first started playing, Ball Lightning. That card.
This format just got exploded.
Banning a weapon
it's exploded.
can shift a format pretty big, in kind of, but differently than the way a hero LLs. They banned 3 weapons, 3 of them,
all of which were meta defined.
Yeah, huge weapons.
This is Chain.
Yes.
Runegate Chain took a hit with Rosetta Thorn plus Briar. This is, I guess, Kano, but Icelander, who was a pretty prevalent force, and no longer just. Icelander just doesn't exist anymore
What does
in this
Icelander
format.
do? Plays Talishar. Probably.
I don't fucking know.
Actually, maybe he plays Talishar. Zephyr Needle.
She might play Crucible.
She might play Aether Conduit, whatever that card's called.
Nope.
Zephyr Needle banned. For
I guess
reasons
this
mentioned
might be
above.
slightly lower impact since there were only 3 retrieve cards in Commoner to begin with, because
True.
Upsticks was a rare.
Yep.
But it's still not irrelevant. It's a 20 health format where everything is downgraded in power, including your armor, by the way. And you have less D-reacts because you don't get to run any of the majestic ones or any rare ones.
True.
You only had Sync and Fate, which like is not irrelevant. But then like Ira with Kadachi Needle was still very good.
Oh my gosh, Flick Flack is a rare.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of rare D-reacts.
Sigil of Solace is a rare too.
Sigil
like
of Solace.
for stuff like that. Like
Sigil of
Commoner's a weird
Suffering?
format.
Sigil of Suffering? That's a rare.
That's a rare. Mhm.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't know
Zephyr
if
Needle being
reduced to
banned
rune
is
chant
gonna be-
is.
That one's a common, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, I don't remember off the top of my head. But no, they just took this format and flipped it on its head. And Enigma looks really happy. Because what Enigma was doing is she was just playing Reality Refractor.
Oh my
And you-
gosh.
You
Oh no,
just
it
make
was
a
a rare,
spectral
actually.
shield.
Holy frick.
God dang. But you just make a spectral shield with 3 counters on it and swing it for 8 every turn.
That's so gross. Reduces rare. Wax On is common. Good one.
It doesn't
I
break
don't-
a needle.
I don't want to be rude, but it's like I'm not concerned about Wax On.
Not
Oh, it doesn't
usually.
break needle.
not not if the needle's at 3 with Ira.
Yeah. Which is the scary part.
Yeah. Ball Lightning being unbanned is interesting, but like they also took Belittle and stuff out of the format, so like Briar can't go super crazy with it, and also Briar just lost Rosetta Thorn, so it's like I don't know.
Do you know what is a 4 defense common defense reaction that you could run in any deck?
Not Rise Above.
Toughen up.
Jesus Christ!
It's a blue and it costs 2.
It sure does
and it
cost
block
2.
4, and it just blocked 4 as a defense reaction.
Holy crap!
Staunch Response was there's a lot of assassin
Rare.
ones.
I guess you can play Unmovable.
You imagine unmovabling a Zephyr Needle. That's not
Yeah.
worth. That's never worth. Yeah, Zephyr Needle banned. Good. Okay, the interesting part. Ball Lightning unbanned. That card was I'm gonna argue untested. Or it was tested, but they out of context. It just like the problem with Ball Lightning was its interaction with a couple of cards, which allowed it to just become absolutely insane. You lagging crazy hard. When Kevin's back, he'll be back. But like, it had interactions with Sting of Sorcery, I think is what it was called, and a couple other cards. But like,
Cool.
it also like comboed with itself. Ball Lightning into Ball
Yes.
Lightning into Ball Lightning was a scary thing, and then they'd Lightning Press one of them and hit you for like 30. Sting of Sorcery, however, is a majestic. Is Lightning Press a rare? I assume it is.
Huh.
But even still, like the way
Lightning Press is rare.
the way Ball Lightning works is kind of crazy, and there's a lot of 4 attack or cards you can get to 4 attack that are lightning cards or elemental cards now, which could make Aurora really scary. I assume Aurora and Briar.
Briar would probably just play Starfall, I guess.
Oh my gosh.
There's the Bard block called Crowd Control.
It is a block card.
It is a block card.
There's actually a couple of block cards in heavy hitters that are 4 block.
Yeah, Test of Strength would
Test of
break needles
Strength.
on 3.
Yeah. I don't know. Needle's gone though.
Yep.
If a
Is it gone in
lightning
LL is the only format it's not banned in?
If a lightning or elemental action card would deal damage this combat chain, that's the part that's so crazy.
Yeah.
Would deal damage this combat chain
Yes.
instead of deals that much +1.
So
Even
when you go
with,
to
like-
damage step, if it's non-zero, it gets +1.
Even if it's that one card where you fuse it and it deals a point of arcane, that point of arcane gets +1, and
Yep.
then it's a break point of 4, and then your lightning, so you can just give it go again by sneezing, and
You snaps it.
yeah, and this
Then
card
play a
comes in all
lightning surge.
colors. It's
Yep.
gonna be interesting. I assume whatever lightning deck is gonna be crazy.
There's going to definitely be some lightning decks, and Enigma's going to be there trying to wall it out.
Which
So-
that might be an interesting metagame. Enigma,
Yeah.
Aurora, and Enigma lightning decks, and everyone else.
Yeah.
It looks like the next ban restriction is late May. Is that what I read?
That sounds about right.
So that's gonna be after.
Holy.
It's gonna be after
I've-
London.
Wait, is Rhett going to Charlotte?
Quest. Yeah, I think Rhett's going.
I just found him testing on Talishar.
No freaking way.
Yeah, he's
One.
getting cooked.
Wait, is his name Rhett?
It's Rhett Irby.
Oh, I queued into someone whose name was Rhett the other day, and they disconnected immediately, and I was like, it couldn't be our Rhett, because I don't see him immediately disconnecting, but it was a bad matchup.
It is before Nats, yeah,
got
the next ban list.
It's before Nats. It's after London. It's after ProQuest, I think. ProQuest Singapore. Not that it matters to
yes.
anyone on the East Coast. Frick.
ProQuest Singapore, not
Got really
PQ,
weird with
not
prevention
PTI.
effects. Oh, I guess that is interesting.
Ball Lightning does
Yeah,
get weird.
yeah, it does get weird. Yeah, and I think Rhett's gonna be a part of like the
The OG crew.
OG crew that's going down. I broke hearts
Those-
when I told them I was doing day tripping. They were all like, "No." I think that's it. Kevin's playing Flesh and Blood right now, so I think it's time to wrap it up.
I'm spectating games.
Okay. No, that's the other thing Kevin does. If he's not playing Flesh and Blood, he's consuming Flesh and Blood.
Yes.
And
all
he's
day,
also
at work.
watching Flesh and Blood.
Yeah.
He's consuming Flesh and Blood while watching it. I meant that more like actual Flesh and Blood. Like
Yes. I know.
frick. I think you have anything else you wanted to talk about?
I'm good.
We started early and we still ended up late. What the
Nah.
frick? So since I think that wraps it up. Kevin, you got any shout outs?
Go watch the stream I did with Taylor Crawford on Monday,
Yeah.
where I backseated him playing Prism, which is really just I told him what to do while playing Prism. And I didn't really explain how to play Prism. I just told him what cards to play. It felt like
I think that's fine. So as a viewer, I was thinking about it. I was thinking about Kevin's teaching, and I think it works well for Taylor specifically because he was picking it up just by
Yes.
watching, just by clicking
He
the
was.
buttons. There was
100%.
there was a lot of times where like you're thinking of 1 or 3 lines and he says one of them and you're like, yeah, that's probably it. And like he was catching it really fast. Yeah, stream was awesome. Heck yeah.
He picked stuff up very quickly.
Yeah. And I think other people can too. It's not just 2 pro players like talking
Sure.
Magic to each other. It's like actual I guess in that term I mean like actual Magic, not like the TCG. It's not like 2 people speaking a different language to each other about card games, but like they're going through play lines. And also another thing is like when you watch somebody else play a deck, more so in Flesh and Blood than any other card game, Kevin and I have talked about this, it's you knowing what to do with your hands, and just by watching other people play out hands is a big deal, right? Because
Yeah. You can get a lot of information from it.
yeah, because you can look at people, you can play hands in so many different ways, and realizing what is a priority to do with your hand as opposed to other things,
Yep.
especially in different game states, is very big. And I feel like I got a little bit out of it, even though my personal mindset after talking to you about Prism was the heuristic I had in my head was you don't block unless it kills you. And I was like, if you follow that heuristic, you're probably fine. And when I would watch Prism players play, I'd be like, that's a mistake. They weren't going to die. Why did they block? And sometimes I was. And so watching y'all play, I was like, oh, wait, they actually... So they had an extra card in their hand that turn because the way the hand plays out, you can block there. Oh, that's kind of cool. And so I was picking up some of those things. It was mostly like the way I would play Prism was don't block and then figure out what your hand does on your own turn, which is not what you do in Flesh and Blood.
Nope. Not how you play Fab.
It was a good stream. You should go back and watch it. There's no stream Saturday because we're all going to be in Charlotte. And there's no Charlotte stream, so you won't even know how bad I did. But we do this every Thursday, and I assume we're going to talk about Kevin's next win or finalist appearance in Battle on Charlotte next week. So tune in next Thursday. Call in and talk about it. Bye.